For instance, when a person tells me his name, I only keep it in memory if I reach a real knowledge of him. But if I don't know the main things of his life, I didn't keep it in memory. But I don't do it consciously. There are persons that I know that exist, that what they do, but it's impossible for me to keep the names in memory. And there are some words, for instance, fideicomiso or streets of the city, that usually appears in my readings. EDN, deoxyribonucleic acid. And while I was praying and writing down my prayings, that word appears repeatedly, time to time, fideicomiso, and I didn't know what it means in that years. And I received a paper and read fideicomiso, and I remember that when I was younger, at 30 years, I write down this word, but didn't know what it means. Or deoxyribonucleic, I also write down, and I know what it means, but don't know what have it in account. What does it matter to me? That's why the things that I write down were a mix of praying of me, of names of people that I know and people that I didn't know, phrases of the Bible, and things that I imagine, and things that Spirit Sanctus told to me. And all the writings I usually gave to a priest to help me to understand what all the things will mean. And he was very well understood that he used this writing in the celebrations. And in that time, I was studying visual system and was very occupied receiving from all the world in a particular way, because I study visual system in the government institute. But in my own, I write to all the world asking for papers of different items, like medical resources or health care of children, or a lot of, because I subscribe to a system, a medical system, that it costs to me $800 or 800 pesos, and I receive week by week a diskette that I put it in my computer and read all the medical advance in science. I was very delighted because Rocha told me, no, we don't want that diskettes because it is for special persons, for persons who dedicate very much to research. We research a little, not so, to make this cost available. And I still keep these diskettes. Perhaps I can't use them in my computers because nowadays that diskettes are discarded. But I was so happy with that kind of information, reading every day what's happening in the world, in the health, medical care, that I always use to add some gratefulness to God for this disket. But the certain thing is that many of the contents I didn't understand because I am not a medical student. But I accept all the contents, and many times I receive papers in envelopes because I write down asking for authors to send me papers about laser surgeries or endoscopy. And I began to dictate a course of electromedicine with all this information. But the certain thing is that my memory is a distributed memory. And sometimes it is difficult for common people to take a piece of my memory because it's a great mixing of several kinds of things. But the certain thing is that when I look at I look at some areas of my surroundings, the most of the times I didn't pay attention of what the objects are sending message to me. And I have to learn what are the mix of objects. For instance, once a day, I discovered that the magazines, in order, had to rest. But if the magazines were disordered in a pile, showing the corners in a different places, they have to be revised. It was a message. Gave me a revise when the piles were not completely tidy. After I discovered that when a pile falls down, is that someone had discovered. Then I took the magazine and discovered what the message was. But this kind of activities are not well understood for common people and not are legal completely. And for me, are not seriously taken in account because I know if I began to say, oh, the pile of magazine is telling me that I have to study the cheesecake, or that today I will make tomatoes full of fish and eggs. That is, there are two things. For instance, now I'm looking at a pile of books, and the books have been hidden by the ladder, and they are sending me a message. Like saying, take the ladder, put it in that way, and so on. And many people understand the message very well and do the things very quickly. But if I am not in a spirit internal mood, I prefer don't touch anything because sometimes it is worse. When I come back from my parents' home, all thoughts were filling my head, and I entered to the room and began to move the things in a wild way, and broken things, and after I lost some teeth, and so on. It was time to time they always happen the same. But the real thing is that visual system is guided by the brain. So, if we listen to an order of an external people, when we look around to our surround, we focus the object that people make difference. But if we are in a spiritual mode and we have internal independence decisions, our eyes focus in the real goodness. Like now I am focused in a book. And this book is sending me a message to pass my finger through all his page, like I'm doing that. For instance, this book is a dictionary, I suppose, and I'm feeling that the ladder will hit my head. No, it doesn't happen. I don't know if it is a dictionary or what it is. Yes, it's a dictionary. And the dictionary have many pictures, have a bird, have a peach, have other pictures. And if I pass all the pages, my visual system will catch a lot of images. And some image will call our attention. But what image will be? The pictures will be that survive our things. And if I intend to make a summary of all these, having breakfast with Mary Bale may be surrounding many objects to be catched by visual system.